Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. Live long and prosper. I'm Captain Foley.
I am Commander Cognizan. That was a tremendously logical hint.
Right. Today we're going to be talking about Discovery Season 2 trailer,
Yes.
but specifically
Yes.
Spock's role in Season 2.
Yes.
Not surprisingly, it didn't really surprise me when I heard this, that he's gone on leave, so we're not going to see him right away because they've, it would be hard casting another Spock. People are going to, look at that under a microscope, examine it, and complain and whine and just not be happy with whoever they pick. But anyway, so I'm not surprised to not see him right away. I'm sure he'll show up by the end of the season, but maybe not. Maybe they don't want to recast such an iconic character again.
I was listening to news about this. So what's most interesting is that, obviously productions do lie as to allow things to be released at the right time. They say this is not what happens and boom, okay. Like Tyler Vok, he was saying I'm not Vok. He was saying that because if he just said he was, that'd reveal the surprise. So those things are
Benedict Cumberbatch was John Harrison.
Yes,
which wasn't a lie.
Well,
but the he's not Khan from JJ.
Yeah. So but again, I would rather have a cool reveal, even if we think it. Because again, I was satisfied when he reveals Tyler Vok. I was like, "Ha, you were too obvious. We were right." Same Mirror Universe, like, "Ha, we were right." That was fun in its own sort of way. They specifically said a few weeks ago, Spock will not appear in season 2, but young Spock will. That was the explicit statements of the team. Won't see Spock? Young Spock, yes. So the headline was, Spock will appear in season 2, but only as young version. And people were like, whoa, okay. So that was the play, but now we know the Spock character in the modern is on leave. And then Alex Kurtzman revealed, I think it was yesterday when we were filming this, that they have already cast the Spock. That was a really hard decision. He's already been cast. They're going to not obviously keep that as late as possible to release it because that's a really iconic thing. And so he's excited when he comes around. So now it's gone from being there is no Spock, apart from young Spock, to there is Spock, and is now one of the main story plots of the entire season. So again, you see how a bit of a misleading the audience sort of thing, because right time, right place. It was cool to hear in this trailer he's so important, and if you'd said that 3 months ago, it wouldn't have been important now. That's why you got to take everything I say with a grain of salt.
Yes.
Like, oh yeah, Georgia's in the entire season, or oh no, Georgia's out of the entire season, because otherwise it wouldn't be a cool reveal she comes back. So it makes sense. I'd rather have it that way, because now with social media, in the olden days, if you remember, it was before my time really, but the magazines, you got Starlog every month, and it gave some updates, and not everyone got it. So even if you did do a spoiler, not everyone got it, and people couldn't even talk about it, so it wouldn't spread. Nowadays, I was the trailer for San Diego Comic-Con was launched about the same time as it was shown to the people there. The American version launched straight away, and I saw that I couldn't watch it because CBS still only releases to US bill for some reason. But within about 23 minutes, I was given a version that was able to watch by the UK, which wasn't an officially linked version. Someone had got it and done stuff with it, and woohoo! And that's crazy, absolutely ridiculous. That could happen straight away. So there is that dissemination of data. So it's good they're keeping him under wraps, I think. But he is going to be in the show. And what do you think now that you know all that?
Well, are we going to see flashbacks to a young Burnham and a young Spock then, or are we going to see? Are we going to see maybe hints at what these strange anomalies are tied to Spock's past?
Also good.
Spock is a younger person.
Also good.
Who knows?
Who knows? Good summary. Who knows?
Right. Right.
I was waiting for the punchline there.
What are your thoughts?
Now, what's interesting is that, again, Alex Kurtzman said explicitly, again, for the second year in a row, this season will line up with the canon. Lied last year, although it did change, obviously. This year, they said that.
Did they say season, though, or did they say we're eventually
No, season 1. By the end of season 1, it'll look more like TOS and it'll link, and all we got was the uniforms that don't like...
And the Enterprise.
And that didn't like TOS, really. But again, they lie because it's a good story, and if people pay them on CBS All Access for another month, then the lie was worth it for them. You know what I mean? If they said at the start, we're never going to link to canon, we're never going to be consistent, you might lose, 500,000 subscribers, that's millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever. Like, it's not worth it for them not to lie, unfortunately, because it's a money-making game. marketing is everything. It's like the Orville, they marketed it wrongly. And it's interesting, I watched the Orville panel, and Seth was asked that, and he said, yeah, I have no idea why we marketed that way, and it hurt us. But fans waited, and by the end they loved us, because they worked out what we were. It's like, yes, marketing can be a huge deal. So this was an interesting choice, but in terms of like young old Spock, I think them saying we are going to become canon by the end, in terms of like linking, you need to see the Burnham young, Spock young, the Sarek looking the same because he's a Vulcan, and see how and why there's a divide. Again, if they consider the book they released last year, Desperados, canon, they didn't see each other basically for years. They weren't children together because Burnham's older, so they didn't grow up together. It wasn't that sort of thing. There was an age difference, so they knew each other, but they weren't brother and sister. They were never brother and sister. It was just, you were my adopted older sister that I knew, but I have no connection to emotionally. I guess pun intended there. So that was really interesting. Obviously, this is after that, so they've now got a relationship, which is going to be good. But in the past, you know what I mean. That's kind of a strange dynamic. But again, if they retconned the book out, which would be sad for the author, because again, that was the first officially licensed book. But I would love to see that they, have a falling out. They can't rectify. They're both vying for Sarek's Vulcan love, and that's why he does not like Burnham. Wouldn't that be fun if the Spock doesn't like her at all? That's why he doesn't talk about her, and then she dies at the end of the season, or something really cool like that. Like it's too hard to talk about her, so she never brings him up. Like Cyborg, that was so hard. He could never mention Cyborg, because that's just as bad as this. You had a half brother. This is a half sister. That's just as bad, even worse, because one was adopted, one was an illicit, or was it a wife before you? Whatever. I think it was a priestess wife earlier, wasn't it? So that's already happened once, but give them a real reason for this divide, and then the canon's a bit more okay. So I can see that happening. Or Sarek tries to keep them apart or something, or Sarek puts a divide between them, saying, you are smarter, Burnham. If this is amazing, we have trained you well. Spock, you let your human side be, have higher standards for you, and yet you're not raising to them. And he sees Burnham getting the appreciation, because he seemed to always appreciate Burnham and like how he took to her. I mean, he after the Vulcan Science Academy, he got her on, an old ship, but a good ship. So what do you think of all that stuff with the kid approach?
Well, first of all, I didn't know that about Desperate Hours, because I haven't got that far into the book.
It takes a while. That's quite late in the book. They get together.
That they didn't grow up together. That's interesting, though. And it explains, why why Spock doesn't really consider her a sister. I mean, she's technically a sister, but she's not a sister. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. A sister from another mister.
Sister from another terrorist attack.
Right. There you go. No, that's interesting. So we probably won't see much flashbacks then of them together as younger kids. I just looked it up. Actually, she's 4 years older than Spock. And she was adopted as a kid, 6, 8? Something like that when the terrorist attack happened. So Spock would have been 4. They would have grown up in the same house for a few years anyway before she left.
And I would assume the studies thing is super important. I would assume because you haven't got that same familial connection with family, that I'm sure Vulcan Academy is like you're leaving to the best academy other side of the planet. Obviously, you can then beam back, but I would assume as soon as she's old enough, she's out of the house to that thing, and then 4 years later, she might then move to the higher grade, different school. So that's because in England, I was in a 3-tier system where you have 3 schools of 4 years. Every single other part of the country is 2 tiers of 6 years, but I was in 3 or 4. So for me, that would be skipping around each time. And if she was even older, she might be literally left the office, or left the house. Although Vulcans, I'm sure, remember stuff from mega early. So I assume he would know her, but I don't know.
And didn't she say to Tilly that her mother used to read Alice in Wonderland to both her and her brother Spock or whatever? Or is it Spock reference early on from Berman? They see, and we don't know too how old is the young Spock that they're casting? Is it child, or is it just a preteen or a teen?
Yeah, I would assume we see a teen Burnham in a... Because that'd be kind of fun, to like the animated series, see like a 10-year-old Spock. Because at that age, you could really play... I guess we kind of did it with 09, but he was very Vulcan, and then very not Vulcan. It'd be kind of fun to see a bit more of a human-y, like he has more trouble. And that's why, again, you want to create this interesting divide, because we know where they end up. And you know Burnham isn't anyone important after the fact, because she's never referenced again, she's not a captain by any note, you know, there's no sense of, my older sister, the Starfleet captain. And also, it's a retcon of 1960s, 1980s, like, obviously, whatever. And we'll never get, you know, Leonard Nimoy at 90 saying, "Oh yes, my older sister Burnham, Admiral Burnham." You know what I mean? They're never going to get that, so whatever. But she probably goes into... I mean, it'd be cool if she dies in Discovery, just as like a really cool act of like... She started with a really bad decision, she ends with a really good decision. Tangent.
And she's the reason that all the aesthetics changed to TOS. She saves the universe as we know it.
And her final order,
not as they know it.
Her final order is, make it look like the Defiance memory banks from alternate universe, please, please. I saw the designs; they were so cool. No, wouldn't it be cool if Spock, as a child, as like a 8, 9, 10, was like that's before the Vulcan side took over. He was being bullied, as we saw, but much more human. He was almost, because we see he's physically Vulcan. What if mentally he was not Vulcan until a certain age, until say puberty? And you can imagine for a Vulcan father who has just had a protege, and you know Spock's a baby, you know, and then you're able to mold her into a great Vulcan, and he grows up same age. He's a really crappy Vulcan. I mean, you can see how the divide would start to cause a chasm. You know, do you love Burnham more? You're taking her to the academy extra days, yeah, because she's really good at it. Well, I want to be good at it. Then be more Vulcanine. Spock's like, Dad. You know, I'm not Dad, I'm Sarek. It's like, no, Mum says call you Dad. And, you know, again, interesting divides of culture. So that could be, like, why? Because we need them not to like each other, really. Like I said, unless they retcon that book, which isn't actually canon, it's just licensed.
Yeah. Oh, man. See, I don't know. Do you want Spock to show up halfway through this season? Do you want him to show up at the end? I want him to show up about halfway through and at least have one or two good episodes with him before the Enterprise takes off and does its own thing. Whether they'll do that, I don't know. Because, again, that's a sticky point. That's almost like the TOS bridge. They can't win. Because if they redesign it and it's not a fan, you know, no matter what they do, people are going to really love it and really hate it. So, same with bringing Spock in. All the people that hate Discovery are just going to use that, feed it, and pick it apart every scene that with him in it. That's not Spock, blah, blah, blah. So, they're kind of screwed either way. I'm hoping that he shows up at least a couple episodes before the end, and we see one or two episodes at least with him in it, being Spock. But whether we'll get that, I'm not sure.
I mean, because Quinto was a good Spock. He was one of the better parts of those series. And even like the continued Spock was a really great Spock. His name was Brandon, a really great Spock. I mean, so even the other ones were great. You know, great Spocks in different ways. You can do Spock right. No one can ever do a Leonard Nimoy. You shouldn't copy Leonard Nimoy. You know, he is the definitive. Just like Kirk is the definitive. Like Picard is the definitive. But I make him important, make him good, make him respectful, make him. There's ways of doing it, and just make it interesting. That's why revolving it around him is kind of risky, because now we will judge everything he does. And I definitely don't want to see Burnham like be his superior, because again, she's no one famous in the future, whereas Spock does all these cool things, you know.
Well, she's a commander now. She got her rank reestablished, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's only a lieutenant. If you look in the trailer, when she's looking at his console in his room, it says Lieutenant Spock, not Lieutenant Commander Spock. Just Lieutenant Spock.
Oh, in Desperate Hours, like he calls her Sir. I mean, because she's high rank. But I for me, it's got to be because I think also because they swapped Mirror Universe, they really diluted the arc a bit, because the Mirror Universe arc by itself was very good. The build up, the Spore, that was like, as the arc, that was better written. The Klingon stuff fell apart a bit, but it was being spread apart too thin, especially at the end. It's like, and finish the arc. Oh, Whereas this, 5 episodes is the lead up to working out what it is, and 5 hours of TV, please be more than 38 minutes an episode, because you can do whatever length you want. You know, make it 3 hours of TV, 3.5 hours. That's really cool. Have Spock appear. He radically changes what you think about the scenario, and he becomes the secondary lead for the entire second half. And at the end, goes off with Pike, and we feel stronger for it. So that would be my best, because then he's important, but as a character, not just a vessel for plot. You know, if he's psychically linked, because once we got like V'Ger, he wasn't the catalyst. If he was the one that came to Starfleet and said, "I sense V'Ger, we must go to V'Ger," and he must know where V'Ger is, and like if he was the real catalyst of the plot, he was just, "I sensed V'Ger. You're already gonna go find V'Ger. Can I hop a lift?" Like that, you know what I mean? So if you make that the same thing, he happens to be going after the same thing. They realize it's more important. They go after him. He joins the team. He helps the team. That's, I think, how I should play it for me.
I agree with that. Yeah. Well. Yeah. What a logical discussion this was.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, what do you guys think? What do you want to see out of Spock in this season? Just put your comments, speculations down below. As always, please share this video around to everybody that'll enjoy it. Click like, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification icon, because we do a lot of great breakdowns of different things that we see. We got Star Trek Las Vegas coming up. I'm sure we'll get new information from that. So we'll be picking that apart and doing little videos, just generating buzz and conversation, because Star Trek is so intricate. There's such great ties with everything. We love talking about it, and we come up with some great ideas, and we love expanding on your knowledge and just hanging out with you guys. So don't forget to get notified.
And Patreon, really important. It helps this channel, this page, these videos, these discussions, and letting us know we can and should make more videos for you guys. Discussions, theories, and just conversations. You know, we are Trek friends on the internet, and we do this job, so you don't have to, sort of thing. Or a one-time donation at trekyards.com. Give a little bit. It's a big donate button. Go to our PayPal. It's our funds. Let us do other cool things. If you can, please do. And thanks in advance. Yeah.
That's right. So until next time, I'm Captain Foley.
And I am Commander Coggins.
Live long and prosper, guys.
Bye, guys.
And bring on Spock.
Yeah.